All right, good morning, guys. It's Melissa. I plan on giving you a lot of value this morning. So, what is life, guys? What kind of lifestyle should we have? My husband was like, "All I want is peace. That's all I want is peace." Well, I have a post I posted on my community post you can look at. Okay. Yes, I gotta wash my hair. I didn't get to it last night. I got home late last night. All I want is peace. No such thing. No such thing. On my little thing, it says, what kind of woman did you marry? If you married a woman who works, like I did, for a house, expect that she cannot handle everything on her own. If you have a woman who gives all her time to the home and takes care of you, expect that she won't have any money. She won't make money usually, right? And that's what I did for years in a trailer. In a trailer, I used a trailer to make my life better. How did I do that? It was staying on top of a trailer. It was keeping it pretty organized with kids. And then when they were outside playing or any minute I had, I was reading, right? And we had a big yard, so they were pretty happy playing, you know? So I had a lot of time to myself, which I so appreciate that my husband did work and I didn't have to go out and provide, although I did use resources because there wasn't enough income. It's not to put him down, it was just a fact. He had a low paying job, and I am thankful though that I had all that time to invest in myself. That's what you want to do. You don't just, it's not just when you're home, all you're doing is you're chained to the stove. Somebody said that before. No, that's not what's happening. You have all this time to invest in yourself and invest in the community. So, I mean, like I did, I had mentors, I had MOPS, I had mom to mom, I had classes on everything you can think of, from Dave Ramsey to marriage classes to community. And so I had a lot going on and I was super busy, but I also took time to myself because my home was small, so I had time to read, to do Bible studies, and I really invested in me, which is the best thing you can do as a mom. So then once we had the bigger home, I was working so we could have that home, and I didn't have as much time to clean. And that was fine because I had plenty of room just to throw stuff in a closet or whatever. You could hide a lot in a big home. And my husband did help with the cooking and did help when I worked full time. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, and then it says if you have a beautiful wife, expect her to have expenses. Okay, I'm pretty frugal, as you can see from my videos. I don't really have anything. Last night I was talking to a pastor about my finances, and he's like, how much? It was a pretty like long form, and he's like, it says, how much do you have in rent? How much do you have with this? Phone, $20 a month. How much do you have with this? I'm like, oh, I forgot to put storage down. I had made a payment yesterday to storage. I'm like, oh, I forgot to put that down. I go to food pantries. I spend probably 200 now on food. You're talking about probably 850 a month is my bills, and that depends on the work I have, right? So I had gone to a job interview Monday, and when I was there, I was at the wrong place because I had never been on Fort Carson. I had never been on that place. So I'm like, is this the right place? Because they told me this address. And they're like, no, that's over there. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, we have a freeze right now. We're not hiring anyone. First time in my life I have ever heard that somebody was freezing. And so I had gone to that interview. I had done another one that day. No, the next day I did two. I've got one today, and then I have one next week. I don't understand this when people lose their job, okay? There are jobs out there, even with the freeze. There is jobs. You have to work at it. And although this state has been harder for me, mostly because this state was new when I got here. When I was in New Hampshire, I knew everyone. my feet were on solid ground. I probably could have got my business going up better in New Hampshire because I knew stuff, right? It's very hard to start a new business when you are in a new state. You don't know people, they don't know you, they have to trust you to come into their home. So it's totally different in a new state. So the cool thing is, when you ride the waves in life, guys, ride the waves. Life is not always about a peaceful life. In fact, once I became a Christian is when I had a lot of trials, and that's usually when trials happen. Satan doesn't go after people who don't mean anything, okay? And the more I get my pro-life stuff going, the more I get attacked. It's just a fact of life. The Bible says you will have trouble in this life. You will. But don't worry about it. I'm with you, God says. And he is. So, anyways, I live very, very much off the grid. Very much. I split the rent here with my sons. I live very much off the grid. I live pretty much off nothing. So, and I'm fine with that to a point. I don't need a lot of stuff. This is funny, I had just made up my mind to give away some sweaters. Yesterday I was talking to somebody about that, and she's like, well, until you get cold, then you're going to want those thicker sweaters. So I'm like, all right, maybe I should keep one, right? One or two. So last night I did wear a thick sweater, and I needed it. So I'm like, okay, keep a couple. But I really don't live on, it doesn't take much to make me happy. As far as being a beautiful woman, I do feel you can be beautiful and still live on very little. But then this video was also saying, and if you have a woman who's submissive to you, she's very dependent upon you. But if you have a woman who's very brave and a great woman, she has her own thoughts, she's going to be tough, she's going to be firm, right? I think there's a balance with being who you are. My mom told me once, just be yourself. Don't compare yourself to other girls when I was growing up, because I had another friend who was absolutely beautiful. Don't compare, she said. You are you. There's always going to be someone prettier and someone uglier. And so anyways, yeah, don't compare. There's always going to be someone better. But I do think you can be who you are fully, totally who you are. Your own personality, your own character, being funny. I have a dry sense of humor, if you have not noticed this. Being funny, being happy, having your own hobbies, and then still be submissive to your husband. And when I say submissive, I don't mean a rug where he walks on you. I mean just, yielding your spirit, listening, being sweet, being kind, doing that, right? Which is what my husband had. But yet there's also a side of being independent, being strong, being smart, being tough. There's all sides to a woman. It's like a diamond. And I love these earrings because they got the diamonds, fake, okay, diamonds in them. But they're diamonds, and they remind me how much we are worth as women, and how much we are multifaceted. We have a lot to us. It takes layer upon layer upon layer usually for someone to really get to know you, right? So anyways, with that in mind, I have a meeting next week for a nonprofit. I have help now that is starting next week. Somebody said I would be very happy to help you with your nonprofit. So things are, they don't go, you have to ride the waves in life. It's not about peace. Things do not go straight when you're growing. They go up and down. They go up and down. Things have to. And when I talk about my husband, it's not an up and down thing. It's removing one layer after another, after another, after another to get to the heart of the issue, which my husband tried to blame everything on me instead of taking responsibility for himself and saying, Melissa, this is how I feel. This is kind of what I think. And, you have a conversation. Like I told someone yesterday that a pastor, that he left without a conversation, and he went like that. And every time I tell someone, they're like, you've got to be kidding me. right? Total jerk attitude, total jerk moves. So, so anyways, as you move forward in life, like I just got BBB accredited, it takes time to do all this. First time I invested in my business at all with money. It takes time to make changes in your life, to reset your life and do new things. So my nonprofit is now going forward. I have plenty of interviews. I will be back up on my feet probably by next week. So when I have things happen, and yes, I've had a lot going on in Colorado, you just try to enjoy the time in between. I need time today, like to clean the bathroom before the landlord comes over, because I told them there was some mold in there. I need some time to move, right? I can only do so much. I can only take on so much where sometimes the load is kind of heavy, right? And I have to have times to take a break for me because the load gets heavy when you're trying to do a lot. So, so yeah, yesterday I returned the keys to these people and I wanted to say, happy now? You happy? But instead I just sent a picture and said, learn how to run your business. Learn how to run your business better. Don't be blaming people who are sick. Don't be blaming people when you have a third party that you have to get the key back to and you have no policy. You know, smarten up if you're going to run a business, is basically what I said. So, you gotta ride the waves in life, guys. You got people who try to put you down. You got people who encourage you and love you. You got people who are snooty. I mean, I am a people person, but there are so many types of things to deal with people. And this is why I want to open my nonprofit, because I really want to help people. In fact, yesterday, that lady that was really snooty to me when I asked for help at the church, I called the main office and she's like, oh my goodness, Melissa, I am so sorry for what this woman did. You know, it's hard enough when you go through stuff and then someone tries to kick you down. I go, exactly. She goes, I'm going to tell the father. I thought, right on. So will I, the real father, right? So, so anyways, you know, stand up for yourself too. I had a situation where yesterday someone said to me, if you are plugged into a church fellowship, they should be coming alongside of you and helping you. I go, look, I just had a church that didn't want to help me, and I've been plugged in. And I said, churches don't want to take care of people nowadays. They don't. They want to have all the money, $10 million plus, put it into a big building, and they don't want to help people. He's like, well, this is the way I would run it if you came here. If you needed help and you were part of our church, we'd help you. And then if you fell into another situation or something happened, we would revisit the situation. And because we know you and we know your character, we would figure out ways to help. And I go, exactly. I tried to go back to them and communicate. I've had nothing for communication from them. And this is sad, guys. This is a very rich church. And so they had invited me for their Thanksgiving basket. By the way, the food pantry yesterday is giving out Thanksgiving baskets to people, which I think is great. But they invited me to this Thanksgiving basket thing, and I said, okay, yeah, $25 gift card. I'm like, that's it? That's it? That's all you're doing? That's like breadcrumbing people. And then I'm thinking, okay, the church is doing this, so that might be something good. Then I find out they go into my Bible study and ask me and other people to provide when they got over $10 million easy. That's how cheap I felt like this church was. So I do know somebody over there from the inside, gave them a call, and I said, look, can you go up for bat for me? Because you are on the inside. You've been going for years, 35 years or so, so you know them. But this is how they treat people on the outside. I said, when you don't know anyone in a new state and you don't have the connections in a church and they're trying to find out who you know, this is how they treat people who they think don't know anyone, right? So he's like, yep, I'll go up for bat for you. So, so yeah, stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself in church. Stand up for yourself at work. Stand up for yourself in your life with your marriage. You know, no man should throw you. It's absolutely ridiculous. Stand up for yourself in court. You know, just don't let people walk all over you. Why would you, right? And you can trust God while doing that. I had read a book yesterday at Plasma. I got about halfway through it, maybe a little less. George Mueller. I had already known about him in, was it Moody? I thought it was Moody. Maybe I'm wrong. D.L. Moody. But when I used to be home, I read a lot of books from great people. You know, Corrie Ten Boom, and just a whole history of Christians. So, so he was saying, you know, every single day he had an orphanage, they prayed for stuff. He prayed. And I have had the same experience. I said, Lord, turn this pastor's heart the other day when I went and got help. I said, turn his heart so that he would help me. He did. There was no issue about it. I have had amazing things happen that I can't explain. When I first got here, I had contacted a church. We needed help when I first got here. And he's like, I'm like, oh Lord, pray. I pray you move his heart. Boom, you know. There are ways, guys, even in this tough economy, to be able to make it, even in a tough economy, whether that's a job, whether it's people helping you, and most of it's going to be through prayer. But God does provide in mysterious ways, and He will help you. And I will tell you, I have been through the ringer with my husband, you know, neglecting his responsibilities, and my God has been very good to me. He has taken care of me really well. I mean, really well. So, lean on God. Don't do it all in your own strength. I grew up in a way that I had to do everything in my own strength. And when I first had kids, I was too ashamed to go ask for help because I felt like I should be able to be Wonder Woman and do everything myself. And, you know, a very wise woman said, Melissa, don't you pay into taxes? Haven't you worked for years? Yep. Is your husband a hard worker? Yep. Don't you pay into taxes? Yep. Okay, so that help is there for you, she said. So take the help. And she said, WIC, Medicaid, take it. And I wished now that I had taken more. I didn't take everything I could have. And she said, that's there for you. And if you don't take it, the government will give it to someone else. And I thought, very true, very true. And look at what they do now. Congress gets tons of money to sit there and argue and do nothing and just neglect people, right? We are the ones voting for these people. And we will decide who we will vote for next election based on the snaps, food stamp stuff, right? I don't, you know, my form last night said, do you get any government assistance? I don't. So, could I now? Probably, but once I get a job, I won't qualify, so there's almost no point to do it. So, so anyways, yeah, watch who is helping, really helping. We voted for Trump. Trump should have had this taken care of by now. I felt like we do care about people. The money should be going to people instead of big government. We don't want big government. We want small government. I know that sounds like it's contradicting itself, but we really want money to go to families. And the stronger our families are, the less government we need. So that includes bringing your kids to church, helping them to know God, and, you know, we all need to get back to church. When I was first a Christian, I was like, where was the church when I was growing up? Where was it? I didn't have any church. Nobody reached out to me. Yeah, you want to say abortion's wrong, but where were you when people needed you? Church has a huge responsibility to reach out to people. Huge. And many times they live within their own four walls, and this needs to change. So hopefully this whole food stamp thing will move people. I know a lot of food pantries are doing great work, but hopefully it will move people in the church to stop being so stingy with their $10 million. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.